the elites. But we have some business to take care of now. Game number 1, the Copenhagen Wolves versus Reddit Nerds. Wolves on blue side, first man, first pick to help kick off the last qualifier for IPL 5. Rengar and Blitzcrank going to be the first 2 out of there.
Rengar, we've been seeing a lot of Rengar being played in our EU matches. Not so much in our NA matches, but Rengar with that massive cooldown reduction, I just don't think people are like totally sure how to handle him yet. So I completely understand the Rengar ban. Of course, Blitzcrank just is obnoxious to play against. And then Zyra and Jace, 2 strong champions, especially Jace. Jace right now is being played, if as far as IG is concerned, in every role except jungle. Mid, he's going mid, he's going top, he's playing support. I've seen him AD carry a couple times, not well, but he can do it.
He could do it.
The thing is, he's just such a strong champion overall that you can kind of put him anywhere. Like, I wouldn't be surprised to see him jungle too, because he has the flexibility to do that.
Now that you've mentioned it, because IG, I mean, we are letting them actually go into qualifier number 4.
They're back.
So now that you've said it, they're going to do it.
Yeah, I hope so.
I'd like to see that. That'd be good.
Yeah, and then Karthus ban. Karthus with that global presence.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Always a big threat. Always a big threat, especially in the EU scene. We see him banned out more than any other territory. And Ezreal going to be the last ban.
Wow.
Banning out one of the members of the Trinity.
Yeah, we don't really see a lot of AD bans just in general overall. But Ezreal ban, I mean, Ezreal is like the most popular AD carry right now and has a rather high win percentage on solo queues, so not surprising at all to see Ezreal ban there.
Damn Pulse Fire.
Yeah.
Friggin' Pulse Fire.
Bringing him back.
Bringing it back.
But Shen was the first pick here for Copenhagen Wolves. Shen, of course, such a dominant top lane, such a global presence with that ultimate, and such a threat with that ability to split push.
Malphite being considered here by the nerds, and going back a little bit too, because these are some very. And you look at these bands, Rengar, Zyra, Karthus, Blitzcrank. There's a lot of recent. This is a lot of recent champs. The majority, a good half of them, and we've talked a little bit about Jason top lane. We talked a little bit about Rengar in the top lane, but even Zyra and Karthus together does kind of seem like an odd couple to band together unless you're looking for a specific strategy, maybe, because those are both relatively safe champs at a distance. You're not leaving a whole lot of passive ranged farmers. So I'm wondering if Wolves are going to actually, try to passively farm in mid themselves and take out most of the common options. Possibly go for something like a Morgana or a Gragas or an Orianna.
Or Orianna, that's really good. Yeah, good observation. Yeah, Karthus especially gets to just sit back and farm all game and doesn't have to leave lane to have a presence, and so that's why Karthus is such a big threat. And Orianna, I mean, it's good to have her. She's insane in team fights.
Oh yeah,
her poke is really good. She's a very fluid champion in the way that she can kind of chain all of her moves together and just really zone you. So Orianna, a lot of displacement, really strong. It's going to be interesting to see how she goes against Malphite with that strong AoE engage initiation on that ultimate. So it's going to be interesting to see if Orianna can influence that initiation.
Also, not to mention that Orianna and Malphite together are a very deadly combo. So not only is she a great mid champ, but I think the Wolves are picking her up here just to make sure the nerds cannot get at her.
Yeah.
I just realized what I said. Never mind. Never mind.
Moving right along.
Corki also being picked up.
Yeah.
So, the Trinity has been completed. So Graves and Corki both picked up. Ezreal banned. And we've talked about this at length over the past week or so.
Yeah.
Just these are the 3 main ADs now.
Right, yeah. And I mean, they just got nerfed. Well, Ezreal apparently got nerfed. I feel like his Q, the reduction on mana cost on his Q is actually kind of a big buff in that he can kind of almost out-regen it. But yeah, those are the big champions, the big AD champions. They continue to get played. They have the mobility from Graves' dash and Corki's W. You can get in and out. So that's really good. They just do a lot of damage late game. So it's understandable why they're so popular. Hopefully Riot can bring up some of the other AD champions to a level that we see the Holy Trinity at right now.
Because you have a lot of champs really right there on the cusp. We've been seeing a lot of Sivir play.
Yeah, that's true.
We've on occasion you'll see the MF, and then you get the guys that have completely fallen off the map. Like Vayne's completely fallen off. Draven's not even present anymore, despite how cocky he may be. A little bit of Caitlyn play here and there, but yeah, it's
Urgot Just where are you, Urgot?
Yeah, Urgot just vanished off the face of the earth.
He was like one of the top picks for a long time.
He is this must ban nearly every time. Then he had those series of up and down, and it was weird. And then Pulsefire came out, and then ruined everything.
Yeah. And you're so bitter. I don't understand why.
But why? It's. I still haven't. I refuse to buy it. That's the thing. It's just like I don't.
You don't like cool skins. That's fine. You prefer the soccer jersey.
I do. Striker Ezreal, being OG.
Yeah, but this is interesting stuff coming out of Wolves here. They're kind of hanging on to Nunu. Of course, Nunu really strong. The flexibility to go jungle or support makes Nunu one of the stronger champions in the game right now. And Sona, again, these are like the two best supports right now, in my opinion. Nunu and Sona. So to take both of those is going to leave the Reddit nerds in an interesting situation. Like, do they really want to use Alistar as a support and go against that strong poke of Sona, or are they going to want to keep Alistar in that jungle where, I mean, honestly, he excels.
Yeah,
he excels there.
But the thing is, there's so few support options left. Like the only one I can imagine taking, if Alistar is going to jungle, I think like a Taric would be good here, and I can't really think of really any other.
Well, I mean, we're seeing more Janna nowadays. I don't really like Janna very much, but Taric and Graves, a really threatening combo, so I would not be surprised to see that. It's also interesting to see how far off Soraka has fallen. She was one of the top picks for a while. Then the early aggression started to take over the meta, and so you really need champions that can really do damage, or at least have interesting displacement. So
so we'll be Alistar support and Diana. Well, Diana. Still not quite sure where she's going. So we'll see.
Yeah, I'm guessing it's probably mid.
Could be.
Malphite jungle.
Malphite jungle. So Morgana
what is
mid.
Happening? Diana top.
Diana top. Morgana mid. Diana top. It looks like.
Okay. I mean, Diana's a really strong champion, can kind of go wherever. It's interesting that we're seeing Diana played and we're seeing Jace, Zyra, and Rengar banned. So like the four most recent champions have been extremely strong. So it's constant bans from them and constant play. So it's really interesting. Actually, it's not interesting at all. I mean, this is pretty. We probably could have called this that one of these champions was going to get played.
If you're saying it's not interesting, we could always have a York in here. We could always make it as boring as possible.
Why you got to bring that up, man?
Because it's worth.
It's too early. It's too early in North America.
It's too early to be picking York. It's just too early in the morning. We haven't even had lunch yet.
Yeah.
It's not even dusk.
We all go back to sleep.
So now with the last few switches going back and forth, masteries are set. So this is where everyone's going to be. Yeah. Let's see if we can get a little bit more of a insight here.
Yeah, we were seeing a lot of switching between Morgana and Diana there. So I think there was some interesting mind games being played as to where those champions were going to go.
Wow, Diana actually going 921. So going to be a very it says mid. It says mid right there in the mastery page. So,
I don't know.
But that's very tanky to be in the mid to not be looking for so much damage. So despite the mastery page, tanky Diana may actually be on top, unless I'm half expecting the Morgana mastery page to be named like jungle. No. Okay. So 2109, that's more of a mid page there.
Yeah.
You also got so you got this pretty standard. Well, actually, you got AP runes on the yellows also. So actually go for extra magic resist, movement speed. So a little bit more of a defensive Morgana in the mid.
Yeah.
So let's take a look elsewhere.
And that Diana with the really with the tanky page there. So that's interesting. Probably going to give a little bit more sustain, a little more resistance against who's their top lane on
Wolves?
Yeah.
That would be Shen.
Shen, right? Okay. Yeah. So a little bit better exchanges. Shen has a lot of sustain and Diana has none. So it's going to be a lot of poking coming out of Diana. Hopefully can wear Shen down and leave him open for ganks or what is that random rune right there?
Yeah, you got flat mana regen and 1 mana regen per level.
Interesting. Okay.
So
I think maybe he hasn't bought that one yet.
Still saving up.
Yeah, maybe he's still saving up. It's a new page.
But this is a little odd though, because you do have a lot of aggression. Like usually when you have a Sona as support, you're trying to get a lot of poke, you're trying to get a lot of harass in, and then you got hunters here on Corki, going for summoner heal. which is kind of indicative of a passive farm lane. But you do have the Ignite on Sona. Let's see if there's anything a little bit odd here. You get some magic pen on a support.
Huh.
Very interesting. So.
Yeah.
Looking for the Q spam 2-6-22. I like that.
Actually, I like that a whole lot.
Yeah.
So that's really interesting. I actually kind of expected maybe doing some cooldown reduction on that, but no, just going for that utility build with that magic pen. I actually kind of like that. I might have to try it out and getting that Ignite. So it's really telling that how aggressive Sona is going to be in that lane. Lane swaps. Do you think it could happen in this situation?
Here, I don't think so, especially with the heal, the summoner heal on Corki. If a swap is going to happen, it's going to happen on the nerds, but I don't think it's going to be very likely because Alistar, he's mainly there to get the CC on one champ. He's looking to harass. He's looking to camp out the bush and trying to grab someone a little less on guard. So
yeah.
I doubt it.
I mean,
doubt it.
I could see it. Shen is a lot better in a 2v1 than Diana. So, I mean, they could force that. I'm not sure if these, the EU scene doesn't see a whole lot of lane swapping right now. So, I would be a little bit surprised. But with the way that the metagame is going, I always have to consider what a 2v1 would look like.
Yeah.
And Shen, of course, considerably better at a 2v1 than Diana. Diana is just going to get pushed really hard out of lane, doesn't have the sustain. And so, I mean, that would be a really, really strong advantage for the Wolves to force that 2v1.
Yeah, like you said, with the current meta going into Worlds and seeing all the crazy crap that the rest of the world is pulling on out, it begs the question. It's a very worthwhile question to ask it in front of every game because, the lane swaps are indeed very often.
Yeah, that's true.
In these times.
Yeah, I mean, and the mind games that come out of that too, where you're like, okay, is the enemy gonna lane swap? Should we lane swap? So now we're going top. Okay, they're gonna lane swap, so we're not gonna. So we're gonna be bottom, and they're gonna be top, and it's gonna be. I mean, there's so much that goes into considering, how the lanes are gonna shape up, and so that's why I mean, Diana as a pick in that top lane, at least a solo lane, is kind of risky, and because of how common the lane swapping is becoming.
I will say, though, that another question that begs to be asked here is the possibility for level 1 invade. Because the nerds have a very good team for that early level 1. You got the bind, you got Alistar, Flash Pulverize. As always, Alistar's the #1 guy if you want a level 1 invade. Plus, also remember Diana with the Q that does reveal if it hits. So this could be a very good invade for the nerds if they want to take it.
Yeah, I mean, Wolves, they have some CC, so I mean they have the slow from Nunu, and they're gonna have a really strong poke coming out of Sona. But yeah, they just need to be playing it really safe and careful and make sure that nothing happens. So let's look at. I mean, Boots. It's hard to tell at this point, but I mean that jungle is starting with Boots and Pots on both sides, so that is indicative of an invade. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw that.
Especially the boots on Alistar too, just to get the extra movement speed.
Yeah.
But also, it's also not too uncommon. There was a time you got the Tess. Oh, he could have been trapped there. You got the orb though. We'll get the vision. Does know at least the location of one nerd, just one, as they are looking to camp up the top Tribrush. And it's strange. It's actually weird too because you've had for a while. It was standard for nearly every jungler to go cloth 5-pot, but that was within the old jungle. The jungle was a little bit stronger back then, and with those with the jungle changes that came a few months back, it kind of opened up the opportunity for more junglers to actually start out on boots. And Tess is still very trapped out here. Does put down the orb in defense as retreating away. Jhin could actually go for the flash pulverize. It would barely hit. It'd be a very, very, very huge matter of skill and luck to try and grab that, but he will opt not to. Too much of a risky situation. There is also a very well-placed ward here at the bottom of the tri-ramp. So right now the Wolves do know that the nerds, at the very least, are on the blue side of things by their right by their blue buff. Diana has also back to glucose, going back, might be camping out for a little bit. Did get the 4th health potion, bringing that to the top lane. Very common for a top laner to do. And it looks like Shen has actually done the same.
Oh, very interesting. It's also interesting you're talking about the junglers. I mean, they get those boots first. They're going to need a lot of help to get started because they can have remarkably low life. if they don't have that early game tankiness. So it looks like they're giving an extra assist out for Malphite. He didn't use that smite, so he's saving that. So we can expect maybe a little bit of counter jungling from him. Maybe go after that red and just see what happens. Maybe get lucky and take that thing.
Yeah, Svenskern actually used his smite on the red. But it is Nunu. He does have Consume. He does have Consume. He doesn't quite need it as much. But if you're going for an invade, you usually will. And wow, look at the timing on there. Sven will get the bite. Get the knob down to Bluminian, and Nigger with the stun, with the bind will actually keep him in place just for a little bit. But it is Nunu. He did have a snack. He's just waddling away, enjoying his dinner. And he's actually going to be going back in. He's actually returning for the invade. But the ward, I think, the positioning by the nerds should have let him know that that part of the jungle is actually warded, but he's still going on in, trying to get aggressive on the red. A nice on Nails to just wait for him. Yeah, wait for him in the jungle, wait for him to pop out, because he knows he has the presence, he has the vision, and no reason to do anything too hasty when you know you're being invaded. You wait, you kill time for the rest of the team to get their position in AEC. Right now, Morgana closing on in onto Nunu. Snowball going down onto Morg. The bind going to hit him once again. But Niels will not get there in time for a shard or anything else to add on to that. Orianna with the orb to deflect him away.
Yeah, that's actually a really interesting path. Like, as Nunu taking red and then going for your opponent's red, it's going to give you a little bit more of an advantage when you're trying to do that counter jungling. But, I mean, it did put him a little bit behind. He had to go all the way back over to his blue. However, Nunu clears pretty dang quick with that Consume and with that Smite. So he was in good shape. His Smite was back up, was able to take his blue really quick, and now he's going back to counter jungle. And this is why Nunu is so strong right now with that ability to counter jungle, snowball, and consume your opponent's, like, especially that blue rate that goes down so quick.
Yeah, and not to mention the test, when Orianna throws down the orb, you do have vision.
Yeah.
And the test is in a position right now where you can just right there and just take it in front of Morgana. Jhin gets ignited, going for the pulverize, going for a little bit of harass, and Winner used it, I think, a little bit too early there, just to try and deflect Alistar away, just to dissuade him. But Alistar does have the heal. He'll be able to get that back pretty fast. Kestrel also drinking down the health potions to stay relevant in the lane. Quick shard from Niels. Just some harass on the Godbro top lane. He's still very healthy. Actually, Godbro and Glucose are very healthy in the top lane. They're just looking not for a whole lot of harass. They're just like, hey, you want to farm? I want to farm. That's okay. We'll both get our farm on. Winner with more harass down there in bot lane every time, popping out of that bush.
Yeah, I mean, this lane is going to be really open up when these champions hit level 6. And that's when Diana becomes the beast that she is, when she can really jump on you. Of course, she can use that ultimate twice. So it does a lot of damage, and it's a lot of gap close. So really good on Diana. And then in the bot lane, it's actually kind of a difficult matchup because if Alistar and Graves get behind, Sona can literally just poke you down the entire time. Her Q early game is borderline overpowered. It's really, really strong with the Q, and then you follow it up with that power chord auto attack, and you just do a ridiculous amount of damage. So if Graves and Alistar aren't careful, they'll get caught out. They're going to actually need some help from jungle before they can really take advantage of that lane.
Yeah, but Niels, he's been dissuaded and he's been distracted a little bit because you've got a Nunu all up in his business for most parts of the beginning of the game. And it shows. It's reflected in the levels. You do have a slight level XP advantage for Sven on the Wolves. And you did also have Malphite just decide to go back. He needed to shop. He needed to... Well, actually, no, he didn't go back yet. He's still waiting. Still sitting on a little bit of gold. Actually, coming on mid, the bind from Morgana will completely miss the test, but Sven's right there in the bush. Snowball down onto the Malphite test in pursuit. Relatively low on mana, though. Will not be able to connect a whole lot. And while in retreat, sees the second ward placed there by Sven, and he's trying to get the raise. But the threat of the Nunu with the Consume, just to take it out straight from under him, is always a huge threat.
Yeah, that's why Nunu is so annoying to play against, because that snowball, you as a melee champion, which I mean every jungler is for the most part. Yeah. You really, you're trying to chase, you're trying to close the gap, but you probably don't do enough damage to kill Nunu, and he's just gonna kite you, and that that sucks. And and then when you're finally annoyed enough to walk away, that's when he takes your entire jungle. And I mean, we'll see with that consume, he can take the big golem really quick and just get out. He can take the blue wraith and just get out. And then when you chase him, just snowball. And then when you think you finally have him, he's level 6, and he'll ultimate you and ruin your entire day.
You got enough gold on there on Malphite to go back. Grabs the Philo Stone for himself, so he's going to be starting up on those GP10s. Nunu did not start the GP10 route. He actually went for the Move 5 boots. He wants that global presence. He wants to be able to run around and just snack at all of the different stations at the buffet. Next stop, the dessert cart, going for blue buff, because it has respawned. It is 7 minutes, so nice ward in a brush just to get vision. Snowball to try and drag the blue buff away, but you got Malphite. Yells does not like the fact that he's been beaten to the dessert card, but meanwhile, the test flashing away from the Morgana ult. Glucose came on down, is also level 6, but the test will actually get the safety. That is a flash burn, but no kill following up on that. Flash burn, though, still successful gank.
Yeah, Diana, I mean, roaming a bit. I'm actually surprised that she's matching up so well against Shen. Shen is actually a little bit afraid to go head-to-head because of the damage on her Q. And, you know, with that shield, I'm actually rather surprised. But here comes Nunu just kind of messing with... Yeah,
coming on up. Jin looking to play the front line, get some CC down. The Wolves are taking the blue straight out from underneath the Nerds, and they have first blood with a nice missile coming in for Hunters down on the Malphite. You also got the Orianna Orb, keeping Jin a little bit too far back, and Sven with a quick auto attack followed up by the Snowball will get that kill also. So 2 quick kills on the blue invade for the Wolves. Glucose also taking a little bit too much damage there top lane, and that is a dragon opportunity if the Wolves want to take it, but I think they're looking to actually push down this tower pretty quickly.
Yeah, this actually puts Nerds in a really bad position. I mean, they have the blue on Wolves now. You can really just control the buffs for the rest of the game. You invade deep, and Nerds are going to have a really hard time, especially with Nunu there, to come back and start taking those buffs over again. It's going to take well-coordinated efforts, which we've seen out of Wolves. We haven't seen out of the Reddit Nerds yet. Yep. So they're going to have a hard time having buffs at all the rest of this game.
You also see that the Wolves opted not to completely take out the bot tier 1. They leave it very, very weak, and just enough of a reason for the Nerds to actually still have a presence there in the bot lane. So they wanted to deny Kestrel as much experience as possible. They just want to make sure that he's in a disadvantaged position for as long as possible, because you have that tower down, the creep wave starts pushing back up. Godbro getting ignited, still being engaged upon by Glucose, does finally get to tower, but the taunt backwards will not get Diana within tower range, but Nunu's not too far behind. You got the Snowball with the auto text coming on in. Will Glucose be able to get away? Ult is down, forcing out the flash. Very well done. Nice coordination from Wolves, and a good inkling on Godbro on when to GTFO.
Yeah, Nunu is just, with those boots of mobility, amazing presence, but Orianna getting caught out by that Morgana ult. She's going to get burned down pretty quick, but here comes the Shen ultimate to save her.
Canceled.
And canceled. Never mind,
Diana,
just scared him.
Glucose actually with the pullback, interrupting the ult. So very nice action on that one, but is also still very weak. Niels has to run interference just to make sure Nunu doesn't get a snowball and a quick auto attack for the kill there. But with this creep wave, the Wolves continue to push down the bot. They're not focusing down on the tower. They're just looking for harass down on the champs. Let the minions do the work. Let them do all the dirty stuff.
Yeah, that poke out of Corki and Sona combo is really strong, especially once Corki hits level 6. So Alistar and Graves, both rather close-range champions, which makes it hard for them to get in and do damage because they can get poked down so hard. But, I mean, again, there's a really big threat that comes out of that Graves ultimate, the displacement from Alistar. So Corki and Sona just continuing to need to be careful, need to play safe, in which they're doing now rather well. They're warding well. They're keeping an eye out for that jungler. And yeah, I mean, that Malphite ultimate is going to be a serious issue if he can get down there. So make sure they have good map awareness, and they can continue to, you know, wreck this lane down here.
So you got the taunt coming in from Godbro down to Glucose. Saw the damage he was capable of earlier, but there's a whole lot of minions there doing a lot of harass on behalf of the Nerds. And also a nice position, just as a note as to where the Wolves are in this bot lane. Whenever you can get a ward onto this tri-brush, if you're on blue side, that means your lane is doing pretty damn well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have to come forward and say I was really wrong about this Diana Shen lane. Diana is actually really pushing Shen around. I expected the sustain of Shen to be able to, outlast Diana, but
However,
Diana,
though,
yeah, I mean, it's,
look at the minions, though.
holy smokes.
That is a 30 minion lead.
Yeah.
For Shen. Granted, yeah, Diana has not died.
Yeah.
And that's, of any laner, like, it's, if you could just manage to not die, you're doing a good job.
Yeah.
But that's still 30 minions, plus the dragon that was just picked up by the Wolves. Snowball going down on the Kestrel. You got Nunu with the auto text coming on in, plus missiles from Corki, doing a whole hell of a lot of damage, almost grabbing the kill on that one. But Sven does have the oracles. He doesn't want to get too aggressive. You just bought that thing. You don't want to lose it.
and it'll give him a big advantage in map control there. But oh man, this top lane. Okay, maybe I could retract my retraction. I'm not really sure. Shen, of course, can get in and really tank the minions and tank some of those hits and get that farm. Diana though can't get in there. Is forced to stay back and kind of just farm from behind. So I think in that case, Shen is actually doing considerably better than Diana, and Diana needs farm. She's an AP champion. To do that damage, to be able to live through the fight, she's going to need some gold, and so being behind is actually a huge hit for her.
And also, mana. Getting very low on mana, trying to just sustain trade against the Shen at this point. And you're gonna be seeing Diana backing a little bit more often, just to make sure you can get the items and to recover the mana to stay relevant. And you also see the lucky pick being built, recognizing that Shen, he's starting up on those GP10s, which he's already had in creeps. This is going to make him more ahead. You need to do something. You need to itemize to make sure he doesn't spiral completely out of control. And Shen's also not too far. Actually, he could go back and get his wit's end at any point, making his damage output that much more ridiculous. And he gets a little bit more tanky with that also. And he just picked it up right there. Plus, longsword. Interesting.
Very interesting. So, I mean, the Wit's End is an amazing item for this matchup. So he's going to be trading a lot better. He can go toe-to-toe. He can do some damage. And Sona is not a good position right now. And just...
Nicker, what?
I think they thought there was more people around, but it turns out, oh, nice.
I'm very surprised that
oh,
didn't go quite on in for that. Winner with the ultimate straight onto Nicker, being very surprised by that move. Wasn't even getting the spell shit on, but Glucose gets the vision, gets the light onto Winner. Will not be going for that dive just yet, but you got the Shendel coming on it to Nunu while he is stunned. You got the quick taunt down onto Malphite, and he will be taken down with that. You got the L-Star pulverize, getting a whole bunch of members of the Wolves, but it's not giving enough to dissuade them. God, bro, flashing over the wall, looking to get more damage, and you got the taunt coming even to close the gap. More kills, double kill for the Orianna. Corki connecting with the L-Star also, and Glucose out on his own. Last one standing. Has to go back to the fountain and recover.
There was some pretty awesome AoE CC coming in there from Alistar, from Malphite, but it wasn't enough. I mean, they didn't have the damage. They just didn't have the damage. Graves hasn't opened up yet. Morgana, I mean, her ultimate, I think she used it in that fight, but it just wasn't enough. And then Corki was able to come in, and Orianna, and just really clean house. So bad turnaround. And this is actually going to put Reddit nerds in a position where they can no longer team fight. Like, they are really, really far behind now. I mean, what is that? 8K gold at 15 minutes. So that is bad shape for the Reddit nerds to be in at this point. They are not able to team fight, and they have kind of a team fight oriented team. They have Malphite, they have Alistar. So the individual damage isn't there to necessarily pick off champions, and it's going to be really hard for them to get back in this.
In terms of money, every single lane is losing. You have Diana at a 1.5K deficit. You got Morgana at like a nearly a 2.5K deficit. You look at bot lane.
Ouch. 3K
deficit. So it's rough, and it's rough to be a jungler when all of your lanes are losing like this. And the very least, what the nerds can do, they group together, they stick together, they roam as a group. And when you have the Wolves going aggressive for things like this, a two-man invade squad with Nunu and Orianna, these are opportunities where you can start catching members out of position. They may get it here. The test headbutt and the pulverize. Where is it? Waiting for his opportunity. There you go. The test will fall here. That is exactly what the nerds need to do to put them back in this game.
Yeah, exactly. They have a lot of very gold-dependent carries. So Diana and Graves, they need that gold, and they're just really far behind right now. So yeah, really good. They have the advantage now. It's 4v5 on the map, so they really need to push their advantage while they have it. And here comes Diana on Shen. Of course, Shen has that Wit's End now, so it's going to be a little bit better a trade for him. So we'll see how that turns out in the top.
Yep. So Glucose still looking to 1v1. And this entire time, though, you will see Godbro split pushing for pretty much the remainder of the game. He does have the ult. When it's available, he can just teleport on into wherever he needs to be. Glucose does not have that option. Needs to back quite frequently just to stay relevant. And, I mean, I would like to... One of the best things, though, you can do against the Shen who's looking to split push is to force him to use the ult. And that's why split pushing a Shen is so good when you're in an advantageous position, because odds are, at this point, even in a 4v5, without Shen being even part of the equation, in a 4v5, I don't think the nerds are going to have enough damage to actually force Shen to use the ult, unfortunately, unless they just catch someone completely off guard, which they did before on the test.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, they can do 4v5. I mean, at least they can, you know, avoid it, or they can hug the turret and just hang out there, and then it's 4 in a tower v5, and Shen can run rampant and do whatever Shen wants. So
Shen,
it's going to be hard. It's going to be really hard right now. And here comes Diana. That Wit's End is working wonders for Shen right now.
Snowball down onto Malphite right before the Morgana shield actually hops up on there. Sono ult getting a little bit of something, keeping Alistar behind, but meanwhile Orianna does get a kill on to Malphite. Nunu getting the credit for the Alistar kill, so there's another quick 3 correction for the Wolves. Godbro taking it to Glucose there in the top lane. And at this point, it's nearly a 10k lead. It's 9k lead here for the Wolves. They're taking this one, they're running with it. Very quickly, this game is slipping out of the Nerds' hands.
Yeah, they have a lot of, Wolves have a lot of champions who can take advantage of a lead, specifically Shen and Orianna, who can really just absolutely dominate team fights, or in Shen's case, split push until you get so frustrated that you give up because you can't take it. And Shen is just doing exactly what he needs to do. 1-0-4, decent, I mean, over 50 farm ahead of Diana. So he's going to be so tanky at this point. Diana's going to be so far behind, especially with this dragon. That Diana is, I mean, we say relevance a lot, is becoming irrelevant in this game. She's just not going to do the damage. And the thing is, she's a close-range hero when she's trying to use her ultimate, when she's jumping on champions. So with that, I mean, she's going to get burned down so quick. It's similar to how Fizz operates. I mean, unless he has a lead, he gets burned down so quick that he doesn't actually do anything in team fights.
Right. So that is the risk.
Yeah.
That is the risk. And as you're seeing here, the longer this game goes on, the gold lead just gets further and further apart. You give Corki another kill or two, and he will have essentially doubled up over on Graves. Shen, if he stays to himself top lane, he may also end up doubling up Diana if he doesn't kill her outright first. Taunt coming straight on into the jungle. Winner actually flashing over the wall, looking to get slows onto Glucose to make sure Diana does not get away from that one. Does flash, trying to clear distance to get the speed buff from Orianna. More than enough time for Godbro to get the taunt off and to finally get another kill on to Diana. With all this presence, the Wolves are looking to push her into mid lane. No need for Shen to split push here. The damage is as such where the Wolves can just poke around and push the Nerds back into their own base. Corki, he is grabbing their own friendly red buff and will be rejoining with the team shortly. And he's still got a good 15 seconds before Diana rejoins the fight. You do have Winner stand by with an Oracles of his own and ult up. All the ults up for the Wolves. They can get whatever engagement they want. All the ults are up, also up for the Nerds, but as we mentioned before, the damage is not there yet.
Yeah, I mean, the level advantage is actually a really important aspect of this. I'm trying to look at the levels here, but yeah, it's going to be hard for small tiny text on that UI, but it's going to be really hard for the Reddit nerds to get back in. However, they are doing what they kind of need to do. They need to play safe. They need to ward. So they have a good idea where the Wolves are. And they need to let them just have this because I don't think there's any stopping them at this point.
That's the thing, though. This would have been a good last-ditch effort to contend.
Yeah.
You know, whenever you have a team like this going for a relatively early Baron, that's a very good contention point to just try and take them out while the Baron is also at the same time taking them out. But there is no ward coverage. The Nerds have been too distracted just trying to defend and trying to focus on the kills. But there you go. Corki with the kill onto the Baron. We'll see the Baron buff go on top of Godbro, and now the Nerds know. So that's what they've been doing this entire time. Godbro with a very well-timed taunt through the small Golem camp, and meeting up with the rest of Team Hunters is there to keep all of the Nerds in check and everyone going back to town, going back to the fountain, recovering. And then this should be the final push coming in from the Wolves in just a moment. They could very well take the game before the buff ends.
That's absolutely true. And Wolves, I mean, they're getting caught out, but they have the mobility and the CC to make it so you can't chase them. Like the champions that don't have like some sort of dash movement or like Corki and Shen, the champions that don't have that have the ability to CC the opponent and kind of just get out, whether it's like the Sona ultimate or the Sona slow or the Orianna ultimate. They can really just be safe and not have to worry about getting caught out, especially with the level advantage, with the enormous gold advantage, and just the strength of the independent champions that they have.
The one thing the Nerds do have to their credit, though, and you saw it just there, too, is they have some pretty good wave-clearing capabilities. So if they're being pressured in one lane super hard, they can at least get the minions off them and kill some more time. But as we've mentioned before, the everlasting problem is the Shen. Godbro looking to split push once again. The Wolves taking the opportunity to take out the tier 2 in bot very quickly. And with the minions still looking to push, they'll continue on here. Shen, you see Glucose is staying top lane, trying to do something, knowing he can't. His time would be better used, sticking around the bot tier 3. And now with the Malphite going down, it's actually, you know what, now you can no longer make a difference. You might as well just go back to top and do nothing. Yeah,
Shen with the boots mobility just really safe over there in top lane. Doesn't even necessarily have to ultimate out, but here comes Wolves just coming in with Rampant. They're Nunu coming in with that snowball on Graves. Nice. Graves going down the Morgana ultimate too, but it's not going to be enough. I mean, they get one kill here, but Wolves is just too strong. Alistar is getting burnt down really quickly. Manages to flash out, but I mean, see if you can make it. No,
it's delaying the inevitable.
Yeah, exactly.
At this point in the Wolves, great kills on that. Now they just need to wait for the minions, because granted they got all those kills. They are also still a little bit low. Not tower tanking healthy just quite there. They got the nice ult from Sona, keeping Morgana still. Nice kill from Malphite, but he should not be getting away from this one. You got the Nunu ult. Keep them. It was like they recognize this is over. There comes the surrender, and game 1 gonna be going to the Copenhagen Wolves.
GG.
Good stuff.
That was really good. Yeah, Copenhagen Wolves looking extremely strong. Reddit Nerds, the early game kind of just slipped out for them.
Yeah, it was a farm. It was a farm.
It was a farm game. Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I had to double retract my statement, but again, Shen really just did work on Diana top lane. The sustain. The ability to just get in there and actually farm well is something that Diana can't do against Shen. If she gets in, she's going to be taking a lot of damage. So she's forced to just sit back and use that Q to farm and kind of poke, and it didn't work effectively, and she really just got pushed out of lane.
But yeah, the bot lane. So you got the harass coming in from Sona and Corki. Way too much to deal with. And then things just spiraled completely out of control from there. Look at the farm on Orianna in comparison to Morgana. That is quite nuts.
It is, without Athenes.
Do
you like the Athenes?
I do like the Athenes, especially on a champ like Orianna, because it allows her to sustain in lane for that much longer to continue said farm. And look at it's just nearly 70 creeps ahead at the end of the game. That is insane. We also mentioned the huge creep disparity in top lane. Also, Shen 179, Diana 126. That's also like a 50 creep lead.
Yeah.
Just the farming was just superior.
Yeah, absolutely. Orianna 236 farm at the end of the game.
Yeah.
A heavy roaming game at that.
It was.
So I mean, 236 farm at 23 minutes. That's pretty good in general,
Period,
overall. So I mean, the fact that she was roaming that much just goes to show how much better Wolves were at farming over the Reddit Nerds.
10 creeps a minute going down the highway.
It's pretty good.
Pretty good.
Yeah,
it's
like
not too bad.
Yeah.
So we're gonna be coming back though. It's not over yet. The Nerds still have a chance. Game number 2. Copenhagen Wolves. Red Nerds going to be coming back up in just a moment. IPL 5 qualifier number 4. This is the last online qualifier. Kicking it off today. Mr. Nick Allen here with me. And we will be back in just a few moments.